Wakabo Wakatu. This is Daku, and this morning I want to speak to you about something that I keep hearing, and that is that we don't need to worry because the white man's world is going to fall under the pressure of its own weight. Now, of course, that's true. There's nothing profound about that statement. The Akawu teaches us to look at nature to get our knowledge and information and wisdom. Now, of course, nature tells us that all things follow the cycle of life. Now, all things are born. They go through a form of puberty. They become adults, if you will. They hit a peak in their lifespan, and then they become old, and eventually they die. Now, the question is, how long is it going to take for the white man's world to fall under the pressure of its own weight? Now, how many generations are you willing to spare while you wait for the white man's world to fall under the pressure of its own weight? Now, just like nature tells us that all things that live their entire life follow the same type of cycle, it also tells us that some things get snuffed out before their time. Okay? The white man has taught us that. The white man has driven things into extinction. And when I say white man, I'm not talking about little Billy down at the gas station or Sally at the damn beauty supply store. I'm talking about the system of racism, white supremacy. That, yes, is made up of white people. Okay? It's supported and maintained by white, black, red, yellow, and brown people. Okay? Now, the white man has taught us in his destructive behavior that things can be snuffed out ahead of time. So yes, something could fall under the weight of its own, under the pressure of its own weight. As you keep telling me, as a cop-out. We don't have to fight. Just stand back and wait. How many generations are going to have to suffer under the white man? We can't keep begging and pleading for justice under somebody else's system. No matter how many individual white people, because I just want to keep it real now. Some of y'all say, all white people are devils and blah, blah, blah. Shut up. No matter how many individual white people you think love you and care about you, it's the system that keeps you oppressed. Racism, white supremacy is systematic. You can't continue to live under his system. You got to step outside of it. Our wise elders, prophets, seers, sages, gods, if you will, they've told us that we need complete separation, that we need to separate from our enemies, our slave masters, and our oppressor. We need to build our own. We can't seek justice and fairness and kindness and all these other things that you want under somebody else's system. You say, well, I know some people that do well. Look at Jay-Z. Look at Kanye. Look at Barack Obama. Look at LeBron James. Look at Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey. These people are doing well. Daku, what do you say about that? Well, maybe I'll take you on a field trip downtown, but you can just use your imagination and go downtown in your town. Go down where you see all these big buildings. You're going to use your imagination. Just close your eyes. Stand in front of the biggest building and imagine that that building was a building full of condominiums. A condominium. All right? So, Jay-Z, because he has so much money, Jay-Z and Beyonce and Oprah, they can afford to live in one of these buildings. You say, wow, look at the magnificence of this building. Look at the splendor of this building. Look at the wonder of this architecture. And you say, man, Jay-Z getting it. Oprah getting it, Beyonce getting it, Kanye getting it, LeBron getting it, because they got a condo in this building. The difference is somebody else owns the building, and there's hundreds of units in this building, and they only have 1 or 2 of the units in the building. There's no comparison. There's a you seem to misunderstand this whole concept of equality. We are not equal in this country. You're not going to be equal under somebody else's rule. If I got a house, you come and live in my house. Even if I was gracious and a good host, had good hospitality, said make yourself at home, guess what? It's still my house. I still got rules, and if you break those rules, I can put you out. If I'm having a bad day and going through something and have an attitude, I can treat you unfairly. You don't want to put yourself at the mercy of someone else. You have to be independent. How do you do that? Yes, economically. Yes, you got to have some type of self-defense. But it's really about community. We like to use the word unity, which is in the word community. We need community. When you have a community, and you don't even have to look at communities around the world. Many of them are artificial. The white man's world is definitely artificial. You don't want to use them as an example. Look at nature. That's what the Akawu tells us to do. That's what black wisdom has told us to do from the beginning of time. That's where most of your inventions come from. We said before, because people are asking, okay, well, how should we fight, Daku? You say don't get the white man's gun, because he got more guns than us. He got invisible weapons that you can't even see. You fighting with the gun, and he fighting you with AIDS. You fighting with the gun, and he fighting you with syphilis. You fighting with the gun, and he fighting you with liquor stores and dope. It's no comparison. The war is so much bigger than picking up some guns. It's so much bigger than economics. You have to have a world community. All right? You have to be unified on a world scale. Not enough to be unified just in your little neighborhood, your block, your town, your city, your state, and even in the country. Okay? So I just wanted to give you something to think about. We can't sit back and say we're going to allow the white man's world to fall under the pressure of its own weight and sacrifice generation after generation after generation. We've already done that. This has been Daku Akabo Waakatu.